Alright, this is a pretty neat idea I had. I wanted to build a box where the kids could trace different things. My Benjamin, my little boy, is learning his letters, so I wanted to make a box with a glass top. You know, I found this piece of scrap glass. I borrowed a glass cutter from the neighbor, made this shape. I made it the same as a piece of plywood, same size, right? And then I'm going to use a dado to have sides of the box here, you know. I'm going to build a box around this thing, and I'm going to, you know, cut a slot for the glass on one side, and then put this board in the bottom. And you see I drilled all these holes in it, okay? And those are for lights, because, you know, where are you going to get a fluorescent light or a bulb or whatever, you know, and start a fire? I didn't want to do any of that business. So I got the idea that if I drilled these 60 evenly spaced holes and then put a reflective surface on here to bounce some of the light back up, I'm going to take a string of 60 Christmas lights and put one in each one of these holes. And I'm probably going to take this string of Christmas lights. There were 60, so I did 10 rows of six lights across an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. This board is actually a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 11, so that the edge of the board that sinks into the sides, you know, like I think there's a 1/4 inch on both of the long sides, and I have about 1/8 on the. It was just the size that I had. But I got about 1/8 of an inch that's going to go into. Going to go into these ends, right? So what's left over is 8.5 by 11, standard sheet of paper, and so over that surface, I actually made a PDF, and I'll try to make a link for it in the sidebar of this video. I've never done that before, but if you get a string of 60 lights, you can always download that PDF that I made. And what I did was I just tape that sheet of paper. It's got a grid laid out just like this. Tape that sheet of paper right to your board, and then you can take a punch. I used a snap punch, like one of these, and you know, make a mark. Puts a nice dent in there so your drill can find the hole. Make a mark for each one of these holes, and then take it to a drill press. Burp, burp, burp. You get all your holes. I used some glue stick. Put down some regular tin foil on here. This is a little bit fragile, but it's going to be inside the box, so it doesn't matter. And then, when I feed each of these lights through the hole, right, I want them to come out the same amount, right? I want them to protrude the same amount. So what I'm going to do is measure how high I want them, and then I'm going to make some spacers that I can put on the edges. So I can lay this on a flat surface, lay it down on a flat surface. Then I'm going to put each light in one at a time. The spacer is going to determine how far down it goes because it'll hit that flat surface. And then I'll just glue the back in with a hot glue gun. And I'll do that 60 times. This thing will be all covered with glue and muck. And for that reason, there's going to be wires hanging out and all that glue. This is a pretty wide side of the box. What I'll probably do is put another dado somewhere in here, and then have a false bottom that's going to go another bottom. That's another bottom here, and then all the wires will be underneath, and they'll be covered by that false bottom. And then the glass, I'm going to cut a slot and have the glass over here. So when I'm done, I hope to have a really bright light that's evenly distributed, and will be able to shine through a paper so that my kids can trace. I hope this all makes sense. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'll show you the light in a minute once I get it all glued in. Actually pretty tedious. I'm going through, and just before I get the glue out, I'm pushing each one of these lights down into the next hole, and I'm just going along, up one row and down the next. Now the wires are kind of stiff and they're going to pop them back out, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have like a just a pointy wooden stick when I come back. And now you'll notice on either end here I have a spacer that's about the height that I want those little bulbs to stick out. So when these bulbs hit the flat surface, they're going to be that high sticking out the other side. So what I'm going to do is come back with that little stick when I'm doing the glue, hold it down with a wooden stick. You know, pretend this pencil's a wooden stick. Well, it is kind of. I'm going to hold it down and then I'm going to glue around it. I'm going to let it cool for a second, and then that way I know they won't spring back on these wires. But before I even get out the glue gun, I can get these all set up and ready to go. This is what it looks like when it's all done. Just time to get the hot glue out. Now when it comes to glue guns, you can get them at the dollar store, or you can go spend a little extra. This is an Arrow TR550. I don't know if it's fancy or not, but it's got a little thing so you can stand it up, kinda. Glue sticks are readily available for it, and I don't know. I have no complaints with it. I've really enjoyed using it.
Daddy?
So I'm going to start gluing these in. Okay, when you're done, you see you have this really goopy, jumbly mess. And I'm probably going to let that cool a little bit more because it's hot off the presses. I just, I'll zoom out so I can talk. How tall am I? Am I about this tall? Okay. Am I in the shot? Alright. Yeah, so what you can see here, this is kind of a yucky, jumbly mess. But you flip it over, and there you go. There you have all the little lights. They're not exactly all lined up as straight as I would like. They're kind of this way and that way. Let's go ahead and see how bright this is. And grab this handy extension cord. It's like a light bright. And it's not super bright, but you know, the question is, don't look at it. Don't look at it. The question is, if I put a piece of paper over it, do I think I'll be able to trace whatever's on top? The only way to test that is to put a piece of paper over it and see if you can trace whatever's on top. I have an old diagram here of some drawing or whatever. Here I have a piece of, oh wow. Interesting. Well, this is lousy. This doesn't work at all. First of all, they're kind of flickery. And second, let me give you a better angle to see this, and I'll show you. Okay, here we are in the dark, and we've discovered that because of the way the you guys don't touch any wires, sit still. Because of the way the lights make little spots, it's not going to make a very good light, because as you come away, it just makes those little yellow rings. It's all blotchy, and by the time you get really far away, it doesn't light it up bright enough to really trace through. But what you have here, it's kind of a cool effect. There's like these little circles that get made when you're almost just touching the LEDs. And you can do all kinds of weird, like where you bend the paper and you get these little, you like that, Jasmine? So what we have is a real neat light that'll make cool looking effects. Hope you can see this. Where,
I can't see this.
like here I'm loosening the paper and then tightening it down across the LEDs, and here I'm loosening again. And yeah, you can get weird effects and stuff and make a neat night light actually. But as far as like a shadow box or for tracing, forget it. Do something different. Okay, hope you liked the video. Thanks. Okay, nobody move. Don't move, Benjamin. Stay where you are. I'm gonna go turn the lights on.